This Family Life News podcast is made possible by the support of listeners like you.
It's the Noon Report from Family Life, bringing a Christian worldview to what's happening in New York, Pennsylvania, across the country, and around the world. Weather with Kevin Williams, plus special features and reports with the Family Life News team. Now, here's what's happening.
Landfall. Good afternoon. Welcome to the broadcast. Hurricane Melissa clobbering the Caribbean island of Jamaica right now. It roars ashore as the strongest storm to ever hit that country and will cause catastrophic damage. Here's meteorologist Craig Allen.
There would be similarities to an EF3 tornado affecting the island for about 18 to 24 hours.
Mean Melissa's pounding Jamaica with 170 mile per hour winds, and it could bring as much as 40 inches of rain to the island. Jamaica's Prime Minister Andrew Holness.
We will have a storm surge above 17 feet in many areas. We will have between 30 and 40 inches of rain in many areas. And you will have 160 mile an hour winds. That is a risk to life.
NBC Today Show meteorologist Al Roker.
Risk of mudslides, landslides. This is going to be a big weather maker for them. This could actually affect their topography for years to come.
Melissa's the strongest storm of the 2025 Atlantic hurricane season. From Jamaica, this monster will rake Cuba before battering the Bahamas. Melissa does not, however, pose any threat to the U.S. mainland. President Trump struck a trade deal today with Japan as he continues his week-long trek through Far East Asia. This agreement sets a 15% tariff on Japanese goods. Japan has agreed to open up its markets to U.S.-made rice and automobiles.
The cherished alliance between the United States and Japan is one of the most remarkable relationships in the entire world.
The commander-in-chief speaking to U.S. troops today aboard an aircraft carrier parked off the coast of Japan. From that country, Mr. Trump will head next to South Korea for high-stakes talks with communist China. Here's Asian affairs expert Gordon Chang.
The United States has much more leverage over China than China has over us. China needs the American market. It has never been more trade dependent in its history.
Trump will hold his first face-to-face talks in 6 years with Chinese leader Xi Jinping on Thursday. Election Day is 1 week from today, and there are big gubernatorial races at stake in Virginia and New Jersey. Also on the ballot, the race for mayor of New York City. That one's captured a lot of people's attention. Political pundit Scott Presler points out,
listen, the only poll that matters is Election Day, Tuesday, November 4th, 2025.
Be here before you know it. Early voting continues through Sunday. In Pennsylvania, there's a huge retention election on the ballot. It's to recall 3 state Supreme Court justices. It's day 28 of the government shutdown, and food pantries all over the country are setting up shop to help provide meals to furloughed workers.
It's starting to get real. You know, we just missed the paycheck, so definitely moving money around, playing money games, and you can't sustain this for much longer.
7,000 flights were delayed yesterday as unpaid air traffic controllers called in sick. LaShonda Palmer is a TSA worker in Philadelphia.
My utilities, they're due. My car note is due. My insurance is due. It's hard.
Pete Lefevre is an air traffic controller at Washington Dulles Airport.
What's it like to be in your job and not getting paid?
It's unfair. We come to work. We're aviation safety professionals. We are American workers. We are here to ensure that the flying public is safe every time they get on an airplane.
More than 40 million Americans will lose their SNAP benefits starting Saturday due to the government shutdown. Amazon is laying off 14,000 workers today due to the emergence of artificial intelligence. Business analyst Christine Roman says the AI boom is eliminating a lot of jobs in the corporate world.
The company says it needs to be lean and remain more nimble in this age of generative AI. They call AI the most transformative technology since the internet. So I think you're seeing this in a lot of different businesses as well. It's so interesting. You've got the stock market at record highs, in part because of all of this spending and enthusiasm over artificial intelligence. At the same time, that same technology is being used in these companies to become more lean.
That's business analyst Christine Romans. The longest game in World Series history ended just before midnight last night in Los Angeles. Joe Davis with the call on Fox.
11:50 in Los Angeles.
Freeman sends a fly ball to center field. Varsho's going back before the clock strikes me. Freddie Freeman has ended it. It's a repeat hero with the last word and a Game 3 classic.
What a game. Freddie Freeman's walk-off homer in the bottom of the 18th gave L.A. the 6-5 win over the Toronto Blue Jays. Said Freeman afterward,
it's kind of amazing, crazy, and I'm just glad we won.
That game lasted 6 hours and 39 minutes. Game 4 is tonight in L.A. Still to come on the Noon Report for Tuesday. Colgate offering free college, regulating pot in Pennsylvania, and water woes are over with in one western New York town.
Good afternoon. I'm Kevin Williams. Conditions remain chilly and dry for the short term, but rain and some wind are ahead down the road a bit. We'll have the latest in the forecast coming up in 10.
All right, we'll see you then. Thank you, Kevin. Let's check the stories making news where you live, all across New York and Pennsylvania. The town of Ripley in Chautauqua County, New York, has just lifted a water conservation order. It's been in effect for much of the month of October due to the drought. The Ripley Reservoir has returned to near normal levels. That means residents of Ripley may return to normal water use. A drought warning, however, remains in effect for much of western New York. Pennsylvania is considering a cannabis control board to better regulate the controversial marijuana industry. State Senator Dan Laughlin says that board would set uniform safety standards for unregulated cannabis products.
If you have a board that's dedicated to this, that we give the authority to promulgate regulations. If a minor tweak needs made to something, they can do it in a week instead of 2 years.
Laughlin says gas stations, vape shops, and convenience stores are selling unregulated marijuana products with no age restrictions.
The gray area is if you derive a product from a legal hemp-based product, you can concentrate the THCA, which is ever so slightly different than THC, and you can turn it into very potent cannabis. Basically, with a wink and a nod, call it hemp.
Senator Laughlin says his legislation is not about legalizing recreational marijuana. It's about cleaning up the system that the state currently has. Local food pantries are getting prepared for the possibility of increased demand as SNAP benefits run out this Saturday.
The majority of our clients are using SNAP benefits, and so we do expect this to impact them.
Katie Rhodes with Catholic Charities of Chemung and Schuyler counties in New York's southern tier.
Food pantries are for anyone that needs them. It can be a temporary thing for someone. Originally it was emergency food pantries. Some people need to use us every week. Some people just once a month. So whatever the need is for their family, we want to be there to help them.
Randy Klein runs the Giving Pantry in Elmira.
It's not just the homeless that are in need right now. It's everybody in our communities who, depend on the SNAP benefits. And right now, with everything being so uncertain, we just don't know.
Both Klein and Rhodes are expecting an increase in demand with the holidays just around the corner. The New York State Department of Transportation and the Red Cross of Central Pennsylvania are issuing safety tips as Halloween approaches. It's this Friday. Children ages 4 to 8 are more likely to be hit by a vehicle on Halloween night than on any other night of the year. The Red Cross's Christina Maisel tells ABC 27 everyone needs to make safety a priority.
So we really also want to remind drivers to be aware that the Halloween is happening in your area. Slow down.
keep an eye out for kids. For those kids that are out trick-or-treating, stay on the sidewalk, only cross at the corner, don't dart in and out between cars.
Experts advise children wear makeup instead of masks while trick-or-treating and dress in a costume that is visible in the dark. Also, avoid long fabric to prevent tripping, carry glow sticks or a flashlight, and keep an ID tag and reflective collar on your pet. As we get deeper into autumn and daylight saving time gets closer to ending, motorists should be on the lookout for deer. They are everywhere this time of year. Those animals become more active in the fall due to the mating season. Dusk and dawn are peak hours for deer-car collisions. Pennsylvania led the nation last year in animal collision insurance claims. As deer hunting season kicks into high gear all over New York and Pennsylvania, many hunters will be donating some of what they harvest to area food banks. Those donations could prove crucial this year with a funding fight in Washington that's threatening food assistance programs. Adam Thomas owns Thomas Smoked Meats in Johnstown, PA.
We're a cooperating processor for hunters sharing the harvest. We share venison that folks donate to several local food pantries. There's a waiting list, and we've served thousands of pounds a year of ground venison.
Deer archery season's already underway in both New York and PA. Shotgun and rifle season starts November 15th in upstate New York and on the first Saturday after Thanksgiving in Pennsylvania. A central New York college is doing its part to make the cost of higher education more affordable. Starting next year, Colgate University in Hamilton will allow students whose families make less than $175,000 a year. Those students can attend Colgate free of charge. That's a big deal because right now tuition at Tollgate runs north of $73,000 a year, and that does not include room or board. A Christian college near Harrisburg is axing a sports program due to alleged student misconduct. Here's Family Life's Brian Query.
Messiah University in Mechanicsburg has announced it is suspending its men's lacrosse program while the school investigates hazing allegations within the program. The university issued a statement stating that it had received multiple allegations of hazing that occurred on September 13th involving members of its men's lacrosse team. In that statement, the university says, quote, "We take all reports of interpersonal harm, including hazing, with the utmost seriousness." The university says it has begun investigating the allegations in collaboration with the athletics department and anticipates completing an investigation within 90 days. Brian Query, Family Life News.
Thank you, Brian. National Grid in central New York has started using drones to help crews detect problems with their equipment. These drones will spot potential problems both before and after a storm. Experts say the drones will save work crews from having to go into dangerous situations. National Grid is also planning to hire more pilots to fly these drones. You're listening to the Noon Report for Tuesday on Family Life. Checking sports next. Last night's marathon 18-inning World Series game brought a victory for the LA Dodgers over the Toronto Blue Jays, but it also put Dodgers star Shohei Ohtani in the record books a few more times. He's now the first player in MLB postseason history to reach base 8 times in a single game after 4 intentional walks. When he made it on base for a 9th time, he became just the 4th player since 1925 and the first since 1942, regular or postseason, to reach that milestone. What a night for Shohei. He starts on the mound for the Dodgers this evening. They now lead that best-of-7 series 2-1, thanks, of course, to Freddie Freeman's walk-off homer in the bottom of the 18th. Last night's game lasted 6 hours and 39 minutes, the longest World Series game in history. The Kansas City Chiefs beat the Washington Commanders 28-7 on Monday Night Football. That game happened at Arrowhead Stadium in KC. Patrick Mahomes threw for 299 yards with 3 touchdowns and 2 picks. Travis Kelce caught 6 passes for 99 yards. He also scored a touchdown. Rashee Rice added 9 catches for 93 yards. The Chiefs have won 3 straight. They improved to 5-3 on the season. The Commanders have lost 3 in a row. They're 3-5. The New York Giants got some good news yesterday. Head coach Brian Daboll confirming that all went well during rookie running back Cam Skattebou's surgery on his dislocated ankle. That operation was considered an emergency medical situation. It looked worse than it was. Skattebou's been discharged from the hospital and will begin rehab immediately. No timetable for his return. Carson Wentz's 2025 season is over with. The Vikings announcing that quarterback will undergo season-ending surgery on his shoulder this week. Wentz has started the past 5 games for Minnesota after J.J. McCarthy injured his ankle in Week 2. Wentz passed for 1,200 yards, 6 touchdowns, and 5 interceptions this season. McCarthy is expected to return as Minnesota's starter next week against Detroit. Couple scores from the NHL last night. Pittsburgh beats the Blues 6-3. Ottawa skates past the Bruins 7-2. At the Family Life Sports Desk, I'm Bob Price. And still to come on the Noon Report, Mean Melissa pummeling Jamaica, Christian television in the Arab world, and a world champion indoor kite flyer. Yeah, they do exist. We're talking to one next.
Welcome to Breakpoint, a daily look at an ever-changing culture through the lens of unchanging truth. For the Colson Center, I'm John Stonestreet. Earlier this year, police in Australia arrested 2 men for vandalizing a sacred indigenous site with graffiti. Spray-painted damage was over 30 feet wide and 6 feet high. A Facebook user reacted this way, quote, "They've got some nasty, nasty juju coming their way for this disrespectful vandalism. Ancestors know who they are," end quote. Well, last month, Canterbury Cathedral received a similar graffiti treatment. This time, however, no one was arrested since it was done by the permission of cathedral officials. According to the visual arts advisor and curator Jacqueline Cresswell, this graffiti, and I quote, is giving the marginalized community of Canterbury a voice within the cathedral, putting profound questions to God. And here I thought that's what the Psalms were all about. Canterbury is, of course, not just any other church building, even in Europe. It's the church from which Christianity spread throughout England. The new spray paint installation stands in stark contrast to the ancient medieval graffiti that can still be seen barely on the walls of the crypt. The barely readable ancient sketchings point to Christ, his crucifixion, to the martyrs. According to one visitor, the new installation makes the beautiful cathedral resemble an underground car park. Last year, reacting to the funeral of a transgender prostitute activist at St. Patrick's Cathedral in New York City, Carl Trueman introduced an essential thought category that is helpful for understanding this cultural moment, including this new graffiti project. Here's what he wrote, quote, "Our age is not marked so much by disenchantment as it is by desecration. The culture's officer class is committed not merely to marginalizing that which previous generations considered sacred, it is committed to its destruction. Disenchantment has passive connotations, a dull, impersonal, somewhat tedious, but inevitable process. But desecration speaks to the exaltation that active destruction of the holy involves." In his books, The God Who Is There and How Should We Then Live, Francis Schaeffer predicted that the loss of Christian consensus would also make our lives and our worlds uglier. In a desecrated age like ours, beauty will be denied. It will be mocked. It will be caricatured. For example, when young people harm or subvert or even mutilate their own bodies, they're not merely adopting a new style. They're desecrating what's sacred. Ironically and unwittingly, of course, to desecrate beauty is to presume that there's beauty to be desecrated. The graffiti on the walls of Canterbury only shock because it's on those majestic walls in that majestic cathedral. In a 1798 essay, Johann Wolfgang von Goethe claimed the highest demand made on an artist is this, that he may be true to nature, study her, imitate her, and produce something that resembles her phenomena. Well, in fact, Christians know that beauty has the potential to point to something even beyond nature. Beauty is a way to acknowledge and protect and celebrate what is, in fact, sacred. It's a way to point the world to the one who spoke all of nature into existence. For the Colson Center, I'm John Stonestreet with Breakpoint.
All right, John, thank you for that. Let's head outside next. Weatherman Kevin Williams.
Here is your family life weather forecast for this afternoon. Plenty of sunshine, crisp and chilly. High temperatures upper 40s to the middle 50s. Starry skies and again frosty cold tonight. Low temperatures dropping toward 30. Tomorrow, ample sunshine in New York. Sunshine fading behind increasing clouds in Pennsylvania. High temps 50s. Rain will arrive in the southern half of Pennsylvania tomorrow evening, spreading north through the night, and that'll leave us with a rainy day on Thursday with stiff breezes. High temperatures Thursday in the upper 40s to the middle 50s.
All right, Kevin, thank you. This is the Noon Report on Family Life. I'm your host, Bob Price, and here's what's happening Tuesday, the 28th of October. Hurricane Melissa is slamming Jamaica. It's the strongest storm of the 2025 Atlantic hurricane season. Meteorologist Craig Allen.
We're talking about 175 mile per hour winds, a storm surge of 9 to 13 feet, and anywhere from 20 to 40 inches of rain.
CBS's Jason Allen has more from the Jamaican capital.
The roughly 1 million residents of Jamaica's capital, Kingston, are still on the outskirts of Hurricane Melissa's reach.
We're all buttoned down and locked up. The thing that concerns us the most is mostly just the wind and the rain.
Those dangerous conditions closed Jamaica's airports when Melissa was approaching, leaving many vacationers stranded until the historic storm passes through the Caribbean.
From Jamaica, mean Melissa will rake Cuba before battering the Bahamas and moving out to sea. No threat to the U.S. mainland. President Trump struck a trade deal today with Japan as his week-long trek through Far East Asia continues. He met with that country's newly elected prime minister.
You'll be one of the great prime ministers. I'd also like to congratulate you on being the first woman prime minister. That's a big deal.
While in Japan, Trump addressed the troops aboard a U.S. aircraft carrier. He heads next to South Korea for high-stakes talks with communist China. Election day is a week from today, and polls show the race tightening for mayor of New York City. The latest Suffolk University poll shows independent candidate Andrew Cuomo has cut in half front-runner Zohran Mamdani's lead. That poll still has Mamdani up by 10 points, with 7% of voters undecided. There's also key governor's races next Tuesday in New Jersey and Virginia. It's day 28 of the government shutdown, and flight delays are beginning to pile up as unpaid airport workers call in sick. Reporter Tom Costello's at Reagan National Airport in Washington.
Air traffic controllers in the tower above me are on the job, but they did not get paid this morning. Think about that. The people you entrust your life with when you fly are working right now without compensation. They hope to get paid when this shutdown is over, but the bills are coming due right now.
7,000 flights were delayed yesterday. More than 40 million Americans will lose their SNAP benefits if a deal is not struck before Saturday. Amazon is cutting 14,000 jobs starting today.
The cuts come as the company works to pare back and compensate for overhiring during the pandemic. The layoffs, which come on the brink of the holiday shopping season, will amount to the largest cuts to Amazon's corporate workforce in the company's history.
Correspondent Stacy Lynn. Survey says 4 in 10 of us admit to driving drowsy. This study, done by the American Academy of Sleep Medicine. AAA estimates 1 in 6 deadly crashes today involves a drowsy driver. It's as dangerous as drunk driving, say the experts. Motorists admit they are confused over the rules of the road these days, especially when it comes to those move over laws, which are meant to protect emergency vehicles. More on that from reporter Rory O'Neill.
When drivers see emergency vehicles on the side of the road, they're supposed to slow down and move over. A AAA Foundation report finds about a third of drivers ignore the law, and most aren't sure of exactly what their state law says. Penalties range from $30 to $2,500, and enforcement of the slow down and move over law is uneven at best. 46 emergency responders, police, fire, EMT, and tow truck drivers were killed on highways last year. I'm Rory O'Neill.
Christian satellite television is helping advance the gospel to 25 million people in 25 countries throughout the Middle East and North Africa.
Sat7 has been around for 30 years. It is Christian television and digital media created by those who are Middle Eastern and North African for the region.
Joe Willie's Vice President of Communications at Sat7, which is headquartered in Cyprus.
We have 4 channels. There is Sat7 Arabic, there is Sat7 Pars, which is Persian language, and there's Sat7 Turk, which is the Turkish language, and also Sat7 Kids. And Sat7 Kids is broadcast in Arabic.
Willie says 95% of Sat7's target audience is Muslim, and they broadcast in parts of the world where it's dangerous to be anything but Muslim.
Sat7's mission is to support and strengthen the church in the region. So we make Christian programming by Christians who just happen to be natives to that region. What's interesting is we have presenters, especially those who are Iranian or Afghan, who once they are on the air, they really cannot go home again.
And that, says Willie, is because once Arabs appear on Christian television, it can be a death sentence for them, depending on which country they're from. He adds, not only does Sat7 offer free TV, they're also heavily involved in social media.
We have what I call a free Christian Netflix for the Middle East and North Africa called Sat7 Plus, where you can just go to the website or download an app and watch Christian content in your language, and it's free.
That's Joe Willie with Sat7, free Christian satellite television in the Arab world. Next at noon, a conversation with a world-class kite flyer. Mike Stulligros of Walton, New York, recently competed in the World Indoor Kite Flying Championships in China. Yeah, there is such a thing. He's speaking next with our own Mark Webster about that experience. Take a listen.
How did it go in China?
It was fantastic. There were 60 competitors from 14 countries, and I ended up placing second.
Tell me a little bit more about this. This is the second World Indoor Kite Championships. Where did they hold it?
It was in the badminton facility from the whatever Olympic Games the Chinese put on, whatever the most recent Summer Olympics was.
Okay. So it's an Olympic class facility you had to work in.
Oh, yeah. Nice high ceilings, which was good. Plenty of space to fly.
Recap for us, for those who might have missed our first chat together. Tell us a little bit more about indoor kite flying. It does seem a little counterintuitive.
Yeah, they're very lightweight kites. Mine, for example, weighs 9 grams, which is the equivalent of a penny and a nickel. And then the wind comes from you moving and manipulating the lines. So depending on what the kite is and what you're doing, you might have to move quite a lot. And other times you just let the thing glide for effect in that part of the routine.
Mm-hmm. The average person outdoors flying the kite they bought down at the store, they're just flying it up there, and that's about it. But you're doing a whole lot more with it, aren't you?
Yeah, we do routines to music. So we're judged in part on how well the routine goes with the music. So if it's going fast or slower, there's a break in the music, you want the kite to show that as well.
Sounds almost a little bit like Olympic rhythmic gymnastics or something like that, where it's kind of art, kind of science.
Yeah, it's very much like that. In fact, we call it a ballet for our performance aspect of it. In the competition, there were actually 2 routines that I had to do. One was called the competition routine, which was created technically on how well I did perform the skills. And the other was a performance routine where I was judged on how well it went along with the music, how nice the routine was. And then the 2 scores are averaged.
All right. How did you get into this? Were you big into kites as a young man? How did this all start?
I had a business where I rented gymnastics equipment to competitions all over the country. And at one event I was doing, the gymnastics was in one convention hall, and the next convention hall they had indoor kite flying. And I stuck my head through the door because just like everyone else, do they have fans? How does this work? And I saw it. I thought it was kind of neat. They gave me a lesson to let me fly one of their kites, and I got hooked.
And from there, suddenly you're in China against, I guess, it's got to be a fairly small fraternity of the world's greatest indoor kite flyers.
Yeah, many of the people there knew each other already. I was a newbie on the international scene, but I left with a number of new friends. We're still contacting each other, and I expect them to be long-lasting, and hopefully we'll be flying together at different events in the future.
I guess one, I would assume anyway, correct me if I'm wrong, that this is one competition where age isn't really a barrier either direction. You could be young, I imagine, as long as you can keep up and go fast enough to keep your kite going, you could do this well into your older years too.
Oh yeah, there were people competing that were 16, and there were people competing that were well into their 70s.
So what I did read is that there were different categories of competition. Which one were you in?
I was in the single line. Okay. They also have double line, quad line, and something called an eagle pan kite.
Okay. That sounds very artsy. It sounded like it was quite a spectacle from what I read here. I mean, it's Chinese media, so take that for what you will, but they really played it up. A lot of pomp, a lot of ceremony that went into this event as well.
Oh, yeah. The opening ceremony was real impressive. They started off with the athletes marching out by country, but they've got 30-foot tall jumbotrons behind you with different displays and different things going on. You go off the stage and you've got performers, dancers, martial arts people doing a whole bunch of different things, routines under the lights and lasers and the whole deal, with dancers behind them adding to the emotion of it. It was really amazing opening ceremony.
You ever performed in any kind of environment like that before? That had to have been maybe even a little intimidating.
It was. It was just very awe-inspiring, really, is how I would put it.
So you've gone through this. You managed to place second, your first big go at it. What's next?
Well, hopefully I'll be invited to some other competitions, and most of them are invitation type of things, not qualified type of things. And then hopefully I'll be invited and qualified to come back to the Worlds next year and hopefully place one step higher.
For sure. Last question, if somebody wants to get into this, are there many opportunities to find indoor kite flying to get into it as a beginner?
Yes. The AKA, American Kite Flyers Association, has a website, and they will list all the clubs in the country. So the best thing to do is get a hold of a club near you, and they can possibly get you started on indoor or outdoor competition.
How about that? World-class kite flyer Mike Stolagos of Walton, New York, speaking to our own Mark Webster. He finished second recently at the World Indoor Kite Flying Championships in China. And you can learn more about the sport of indoor or even outdoor kite flying at the American Kite Flyers Association website. That's kite.org. You can also hear Mark's entire conversation at Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Spotify, or our website, familylife.org.
Good afternoon. Here is your Family Life regional weather forecast. High pressure in eastern Canada continues to control our weather. Dry and chilly, the weather watchwords right through the daylight hours tomorrow. But after that, low pressure moving up the eastern seaboard promises a pretty good soaking rain here later Wednesday night and Thursday. Some gusty winds coming as well. For this afternoon, plenty of sunshine, crisp and chilly. High temperatures upper 40s to the middle 50s. Starry skies and again frosty cold tonight. Low temperatures dropping toward 30. Tomorrow, ample sunshine in New York. Sunshine fading behind increasing clouds in Pennsylvania. High temps 50s. Rain will arrive in the southern half of Pennsylvania tomorrow evening, spreading north through the night, and that'll leave us with a rainy day on Thursday with stiff breezes. High temperatures Thursday in the upper 40s to the middle 50s.
All right, Kevin, thank you. Finally at noon, 9 out of 10 of us say we love it, and that's a good thing because today is all about the chocolate. Correspondent Bree Tennis.
Today is National Chocolate Day. It's okay to greet that with a cheer. Chocolate's the best. It's been a part of human life since 1100 BC. Its roots are Aztec, but Germany's the country that produces the most for consumption. Eating it is known to trigger a chemical reaction that makes you feel good, and who doesn't want that? For the 1% of the population who don't like chocolate, more for us. Celebrating today is easy. Get some chocolate and eat it. I'm Bree Tennis.
All right, thank you, Bree. And that's our world, the world we live in. Tuesday, October 28th. I'm Bob Price. Family Life News.
You've been listening to the Noon Report, heard weekdays on Family Life. Thank you for listening.
Thank you for listening to this Family Life News podcast. If you've been encouraged by what you've heard, please share it with others and click the subscribe button to automatically receive future episodes. Family Life is a listener-supported ministry. Podcasts like this are made possible by your financial partnership. Find out more at familylife.org.